Gwe, hello and good morning. Thank you all for being here today to join us as we commemorate this first annual National Day for Truth and Reconciliation. Ndeluisi Julie Pellisier Lush, my name is Julie. I am a proud Mi'kmaq woman of Abegwit and member of Lennox Island First Nation. Before I begin, I would like to ask everyone to follow our Chief Public Health Officer's guidelines and try to stay 6 feet apart and wear a mask so that we can have a safe event here today. I would like to welcome the Honorable Antoinette Perry, Lieutenant Governor of Prince Edward Island, the Honorable Brian Francis, Senator for Prince Edward Island, the Honorable Dennis King, Premier of Prince Edward Island, Chief Darlene Bernard of Lennox Island First Nation, and Chief Junior Gould of Abegwit First Nation. Together, we acknowledge the land upon which we gather is unceded Mi'kmaq territory. Abegwit is covered by the historic treaties of peace and friendship. I am humbled and honored to be your MC today. For all Abegwitwa, all Islanders, and for Abegwitwa Mi'kmaq, today is significant as we are gathered here to commemorate and remember the devastating impacts of Indian residential schools. We pay tribute to those innocent children who lost their lives, and we honor the survivors of these schools, their families, and communities. It is a day of mourning and solemn reflection. For our Mi'kmaq family who is grieving, may this day bring you some comfort and some healing. For our allies, may your journey to learn more about the truth of what happened at residential schools be strengthened. Let me say, it warms my heart to see so many people here today wearing orange t-shirts. Our event will begin with a song. Then Senator Francis and Premier King will deliver remarks. At noon, we will pause for a moment of reflection for 2 minutes, along with all Islanders. Following the 2 minutes of silence, Her Honor Antoinette Perry, Senator Francis, Premier King, Chief Bernard, and Chief Gould will be invited to come forward to lower the Canadian and provincial flags. After this, we will close the ceremony, and our participants will be available to the media at this time. I would like to invite Senator Francis now to come up and speak. Senator Francis sponsored Bill C-5, which was unanimously passed by the Senate to establish September 30th as a statutory holiday.
Quay, hello. Lieutenant Governor Antoinette Perry, Premier Dennis King, Chief Darlene Bernard, Chief Junior Gould, honorable guests, ladies and gentlemen. I am honored and humbled to be here today to mark the inaugural day, National Day for the Truth and Reconciliation, which is a direct response to Call to Action 80 of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. There have been many memorable moments in my life, but having played a small part in the establishment of the day will forever stand out. And I'm looking forward to Prince Edward Island soon becoming the first province to make the new day a statutory holiday. These are both small but significant steps forward. Today, we come together as a nation of many nations to remember, honor, and mourn the thousands of lives lost and impacted by the residential school system and other colonial and genocidal interventions. In addition, we come together to commit to participating fully and meaningfully on commemoration and education activities that will help us confront and remediate past and present harms, not only today, but throughout the entire year. To me, this day represents the accumulation of a long and hard-fought battle led by survivors, families, and communities, to be heard and believed following decades of indifference and denial. However, this day is also the beginning of a new chapter in Canada's relationship with Indigenous people. What we do now, both individually and collectively, will determine what kind of country we want to be and are going to be in the future. My sincere hope is that our commitments will turn into real and concrete actions which will empower the next 7 generations to grow up having real and fair opportunities to thrive and be proud of who they are and where they come from. May the Creator guide us all as we continue in this multi-generational journey towards truth, justice, healing, and reconciliation between Indigenous and non-Indigenous people. Thank you. Walalio.
Walal, and thank you, Senator Francis, for those heartfelt words. I would now like to invite Premier Dennis King to come forward and offer his remarks on behalf of the province. Premier King.
Thank you very much, Julie Quay. Good morning, Her Honor Antoinette Perry, Lieutenant Governor, Senator Francis, Chief Gould, Chief Bernard, councillors of Lennox Island and Abegood First Nations, I see, colleagues from the provincial legislature, members of parliament, islanders all. This is a very, very important day for Prince Edward Island, and I'm proud to be here as your Premier. I've thought a lot about what I should say on a day like today. And I have to admit that it's not lost on me that I stand before you as a white Christian male leader. And when we look through the dark past of how we've gotten to here, that is reflective of the leadership that has gotten us here. But it makes me think a lot about learning about the past and moving it forward, and what is inside each and every one of us and the responsibility that we have to make better today and to make better for tomorrow. And that is the option that I choose, and that is the effort that I bring forward here, and hope to inspire others along the way to do just that. This is a very, very, very important day, the first National Day of Truth and Reconciliation in our province and across the country. And we can't say enough about the efforts of Senator Francis, who deserves so much credit, but who does such a great job deflecting it to so many others. But Senator, we wouldn't be here without your steadfast efforts, and I think you deserve another large, warm round of applause for that. I've thought a lot about what today is, and it's a day to first and foremost honor those who were victimized and those who remain victimized by the residential school system implemented by Canada. But it's also about understanding that each and every one of us, that this is not exclusively a First Nations issue. This is not a Prince Edward Island issue, it's not a Canadian issue, it's an issue about each and every one of us as Islanders and Canadians. Regardless of who you are or where you come from, we all share a belief and love of our identity. We're proud of where we've come from, we're proud of who we are, and we also understand that there's a struggle that comes with that identity. We hold tight to the parts of that identity that make us proud, and we try hard to deal honestly and openly with the parts of our identity and past that bring us shame, sadness, embarrassment, anger, disbelief, or any other emotion you can think of or evoke. And to me, that's why I think today is as much about understanding as it is about everything else. The understanding begins with recognizing and acknowledging the wrongs of our past as a country, and the reality that many First Nations people, both in PEI and across the country, continue to feel the impacts of a residential school system that has changed and ruined their lives, and they feel that on a daily basis here each and every day. It's about understanding that this is about all of us. I know all of us here have heard people say, why can't we leave the past in the past? Why can't we just worry about today and focus on tomorrow? Why can't we put our energies into what we can control instead of always looking back. And I say to you here today that it doesn't have to be either or. I know the hearts and minds of the leaders of the First Nations community, and I know that community very well. They are focused on today. Just like each and every one of us, they plan and dream for a better tomorrow. But we have not, as a country and as a province and as a society, openly and honestly dealt with the scars of the past. In fact, it's only in very recent times that we've started to have a meaningful and open conversation about that past. And we've long known, even if we haven't talked about it, that that past is dark, it's tragic, it's demeaning, and it's devastating. And the time for that conversation has only started. It's not over. It can't be fast-forwarded. It can't be glazed over. The conversations, we know, are difficult. They're emotional. They're deeply sad. They're embarrassing. But they have to be. And if you think it's hard to have the conversation about it, just picture yourself for a second living the experience. Picture that for a second. We're having a hard time talking about it. Thousands of innocent people were forced to live with it. So as hard as it might be, the process of truth and reconciliation of our past helps make today better. Learning from it and building a trust and foundation upon it is the pathway to a bright future, to a better tomorrow. So today I ask all of you to reflect, to learn, to educate, to think, and most importantly, to care. To accept the role that's inside of all of us, that responsibility we must take on in this process to make Prince Edward Island and Canada better. It's inside each and every one of us, and it's time to take it to the surface, do what's best, do what Islanders do best. That is, show your love and show how you care. In a few moments, we'll be pausing for a moment of reflection. We'll be lowering the flags. And I ask each and every one of you here today, or who may be joining us who aren't here today, to take this moment and to take all of today and beyond to do just that. Reflect, learn, educate, think, and care. Thank you very much. Walali.
Walalan Premier King. Now, as we approach the noontime hour and the sun transitions from morning into afternoon, we will reflect and come together in the spirit of healing and the promise of better days ahead. We must take time to look, listen, and learn the hard truths that have been hidden for far too long. Let us use this day for all Islanders to reflect and understand these truths so that we can all move forward together. Now we're going to have everybody come over and we're going to get ready to do our 2 minutes of silence. We're going to move over this way, guys, so that we're closer to the flagpole. I will stay here so that you will be able to hear me. Do we all go over there? Yeah. Right there's good. Now, I would ask that everyone observe these 2 minutes of silence. Walalio. Walalan. Thank you. Merci. Now, the drummers have requested that if anybody out there is a singer or a drummer and they would like to sing along with the honor song, we'll be doing 2 rounds. And I would like to ask Her Honor, Senator Francis, Premier King, Chief Bernard, and Chief Gould to come forward to their respective flagpoles to join together in the lowering of the Canadian and provincial flags. For those wishing to take photos, please do so. We may proceed with the lowering of the flags. Walalio, thank you for joining and participating in this today's inaugural National Day for Truth and Reconciliation. The official party will now be available for the media. This brings our commencement to a close. I am humbled and honored to have been a part of this important day. Insit Nogama, all my relations. Walalio, thank you.